It's a UYU show. Every week got some new reviews on what's today. We got Hunter and Drew here. Every day gonna tell us what's new. Making plays. It's a UYU show. Every week got some new reviews on what's today. We got Hunter and Drew here. Every day gonna tell us what's new. Making plays. As a culture, we move strong. All the news, what's going on? Stay updated on our own, 'cause we're dedicated to what we love.
What's up, guys? We are live here with episode 6 of the GOT UYU Podcast, and we have a very special guest, Katie Bedford. You may know her from the desk previously at COD World League. She's also a streamer extraordinaire, was a part of Optic last year, all around great person. And we're here to talk some COD League. We're here to talk some of her backstory, how she got into esports, and everything in between. How are you doing today, Katie?
Wonderful. Well, I just wrapped up a 7-hour watch party of everything we saw today. A banger of an ending. We were talking about it before this podcast went live. Slasher with that final kill. What an ending to Control. By the way, thank God it's not Dom anymore. But no, it was a crazy ending and a great day. So I've been chilling and been looking forward to this. And thank you guys for having me.
Absolutely. So you're out in LA now? Yeah.
So I live actually with Crowder and some of our friends, Cole and Vega. Yeah. So people always ask, they're like, wait, Crowder, like FaZe Crowder? I'm like, yeah, he's downstairs. I'm like doing a watch party for his team. And I'm like, yeah, he's downstairs. I can hear him yelling about it.
That's crazy.
That's actually awesome.
So he's coaching while you're upstairs then?
Oh, yeah. No, I'll walk downstairs sometimes in the kitchen and he's on the first floor and I'll just hear shouting from his room. And I'm like,
yeah.
Okay, well, I'm just gonna
match.
Yeah. Luckily, Atlanta faces a very good team, so there's not too many of the awkward losses where you have to go into the kitchen and be like, hey man, you all right?
Well, that's actually one of the things I love so much about Crowder as a coach is that he's super unfazed, no pun intended, about wins or losses. I think he's got a very good temperament in that regard. So I've never actually seen him lose full in any way. When I see him, he's usually like, yeah, we got stuff to work on. It is what it is. Brush it off and keep moving. And I'm like, okay, at least not this year. Cause they're undefeated so far, but I've yet to see cranky him after a loss. So
yeah, well, they're looking like the teams to beat. I mean, since we're just coming right off CDL, I think literally 5 minutes before we had the Thieves hot 3-0 over the Ultra. Why don't we talk about a little bit of what's going on this weekend, Hunter? You want to kind of give the people on the podcast who are listening in the future a little bit of intro of what we're watching right now or what we're watching this weekend?
Yeah, absolutely. So this weekend is the CDL's first major tournament. So it's the first event where every team is playing in a bracket style format. So the first day, it started off with just 2 losers round matches. So it was the 2 bottom seeded teams, or I guess the 4 bottom seeded teams in the league. They matched up against each other. And then we had the first set of eliminations. And I believe it was Seattle that went down, and then London that went down the first day. So they placed 10th through 12th. And then on the winner side of bracket, we had Optic versus Subliners. That was a good series. It was a 3-0, but it was really fun to predict going into it. I had a fun time breaking that one down beforehand. And then a surprise, we had the Los Angeles Gorillas over the Los Angeles Thieves.
Yeah, wow.
That was crazy. Going into it, I was thinking I could see the Gorillas winning in Search and Destroy against the Thieves, but I didn't know that they were going to take the first hard point. They just came on 3-0 them. That was very surprising to me.
So Katie, I mean, you were a part of Optic last year, which Optic, if people don't know, Optic was originally Optic Gaming, but then they became a part of Immortals Group and LA Optic in the CDL, and you were a part of that last year. Some of that is the core from Optic, some of that was the core from 100 Thieves.
Right.
Now the current LA Thieves is kind of back to the roots a little bit more of 100 Thieves. In the battle for LA, like how do you see that shaping up? And obviously this was an upset, but what do you see out of the LA Thieves? What do you see out of the Gorillas that you like?
I mean, when you look at these two teams, right? Apathy has been playing great for Gorillas, but on paper, Thieves are the better team. They had a rather abysmal series against Gorillas, if we're going to be completely honest. I'm biased. I love Thieves. They're my guys. I've been a huge fan of them since Black Ops 4. But they just looked very lost and lackluster against Gorillas. But honestly, I think if they played again, Thieves win. And Thieves win majority of times over not. I mean, when you look at the series that they just had, I wouldn't put Gorillas like a ton higher than Toronto, which is tough, right? Because you have teams like Florida and teams like Toronto who started off the season looking really good. And then you're like, pardon? What's happened to you? What's happened to you? But no, I think in terms of the battle for LA, I lean toward Thieves, but that loss in a 3-0 fashion to Gorillas showed that Thieves might be a good team, but when it comes to someone like an Optic, someone like an Atlanta or a Dallas, have fun with that.
I mean, we saw, I know it's like the exact same team. Obviously, we went from 5v5 to 4v4. There's a lot of changes in the offseason, but last year's Optic had a similar slow start and then kind of found form later in the season. I could see a similar thing happening with this Steve's team. They got all the talent in the world right there.
Yeah. Oh, no, I agree with that, right? Because Slasher's teams historically tend to have slower starts. And then at some point there might be a roster change and then the team picks up momentum. And this is something that's been said about Slasher a lot too, is for him, if you're going to play with him, it's going to be his way or the highway. If you succeed with Slasher, you are going to have to put your ego aside and bite your tongue and usually just go with what he wants because he's going to be that iron will on the team. Most of the time he's right. Sometimes he's wrong, but most of the time he is right. So when I look at this team now, and I think this is actually something Pac-Man said when we put out our first Dacerto CDL show was, can Temp kind of, and Enable said this as well, can Temp kind of put that ego aside? Because we know sometimes he doesn't have the best mental when it comes to his team losing. Can he kind of put that aside and work with Slasher? And something Enable said too is that, when Kenny first started playing with Slasher a few years ago, he was almost like, I'm out. So I think if you can get past that learning curve and synchronize as a team, they'll be great. TJ has looked the best that he has had in 2 years. He looks phenomenal compared to Modern Warfare. So I think they just need some time to synergize a bit more. But yeah, I agree. As I would expect as the league goes on, they will pick up momentum.
That's a really good point. Oh, go ahead, Hunter. Yeah,
I think it's with Slasher teams in like the past, if their teamwork's on point, any given day they can beat anybody in the league. Like, simply put, like I forget which, they had a couple like really good days during a Super Week where it's like this team is like top 3 right now. I think it's just about finding consistency, like you guys said, whether it's Temp being able to play with Slasher or whatever the case may be on that team. If they can just iron everything out, they're top 3, and I could see them doing really well in the majors, and even maybe this major.
Yeah, on paper they look so good. If you could draw up a fantasy team, Temp and Kenny together, oh my gosh! But it kind of reminds me of I'm an NBA fan, so like that whole Brooklyn Nets situation with Kyrie Irving and James Harden and Durant. Durant's a great leader, but can Kyrie and Harden, who both need the ball in their hands and both have big egos, can they play together? And can they play in kind of Durant's system, Durant's team? I think it's a kind of good analogy to the Thieves right now. And the Nets are winning a lot right now, so we'll have to see. But that's definitely one that I'm very excited about as we go forward. Were there any other matches that so far that we've seen that have surprised you?
Not surprised, but I did want to talk about Optic versus Dallas today.
Oh, we gotta!
We have to. There's no way we don't.
The best series of the entire season, by far. That was incredible.
It didn't surprise me, but definitely a banger. Like personally on my pick'em, I'm looking right now. I had Dallas 3-2. So I got it right, but that doesn't mean that it was easy because I was sitting there at my desk and I was like, world champions, they looked really good their last match against Thieves. They won, their match so far. Like, it was so hard sitting there, and like I was thinking, like, but I feel like Optic has improved their search and destroy enough, like, to be able to beat Empire. So that's what kind of swayed it for me. But it could have went either way. Like, I just got lucky. It's hard to pick the CDL this year, but that was crazy. Like, Game 5, round 11. Oh my god.
No, and I look at that too, and I'm like, it's so interesting because going into this, I would have said Optic is the best hardpoint team in the game right now. They are so strong, and they're undefeated in control. They're so strong in respawn. So if you told me, hey, Dallas is going to come in, lose the first search, lose the control, but beat them by 100 points in both hard points, I was like, pardon? But that's actually, it's interesting that you said that because I leaned toward Optic initially when my chat was like, hey, what's your prediction today for Optic Dallas? I said, I really think either of these teams can win this. The only reason I lean toward Optic is because Illy has been struggling in respawns. His KD, he's been suffering in terms of that slaying. So I said, watch Illy if he can pick it up, and he certainly did in that series. But what an ending. As a viewer, you cannot ask for a better series than what we got out of Optic and Dallas.
Yeah, I mean, we all watch a lot of esports over here at UYU, but I think there's nothing hyper than Map 5 round 11. I think that's just... Can you get better than that? I don't know.
And then you get Crim and Scum and Formal and Stro and
all the
Hex.
history. And I mean, I don't know how much we're going to touch on this. Everything that's been blown up.
Yeah, all of social media.
Oh, I was sitting there. I was like, Chad, has Stro tweeted yet? Has he tweeted anything yet?
Yeah, I know.
Right?
Wait, are they? I haven't looked at the bracket. Are they on path to play the Thieves at all? Is that a possibility?
Look,
because that'll be.
I haven't actually looked. That's a great question.
That'll be timeline.
I'm looking right now.
That'll be timeline gemstones coming out of that.
I mean, I agree. I think the Stro problem. His points are correct, but they're really whiny.
Yeah, I mean, we could talk about a bit on this podcast. I think we should explain a bit to the viewers, maybe, or the viewers and the people listening at home after the facts what happens. So Hastro owns the Dallas Envy, or not the Dallas Envy, the Envy, which is the home of the Dallas Fuel, the Overwatch team, as well as the Dallas Empire. Former COD player. And he put out a tweet after they 3-0'd. Was it a 3-0 of the Thieves?
Yeah,
3-0.
It was, yeah.
3-0, yeah.
Kind of saying like, hey, where's your guys' tweets now supporting or not supporting your boys? And it just all kicked off from there. We had J-Cap, the coach, getting involved, who used to play for Hastro. We had, what else that happened?
Courage came in from the top rope. And
top rope, Courage coming in.
I mean, it's tough though, right? I mean, like you sorry, Hunter, go ahead, sorry.
Yeah, I was going to say, like it was so different, like, because today it was more so like GG's Optic. Like, they came out, obviously won Game 5, right? And it was like GG's all respect, like kind of like a totally different tone. And like, I guess the issue people were having is like before all this happened this week, Astro has made like a comment about like a hoodie org. I forget exactly. Those were his words. So it's like
he made a snarky tweet about hoodie orgs and no one cares about winning anymore, and you're just like, it's just it was a shot at Thieves. So that kind of and Stro realistically has got what he wanted in terms of a rivalry, right? He's clearly been fishing for a rivalry with Thieves for a while. I think he got it there, but frankly, if you look at it, Stro is not wrong in what he's saying, but he comes off in an extremely whiny manner, and people are going to dogpile that. Do I think that Courage needed to take it to that level? No, I don't. Especially when you get into a debate about money and you claim an org is failing. Right. And I think that's when it crossed the line into like, why
What's
is this
going
getting
on
like
here?
so deep? Like, why is this dagger so deep right now? What's happening here? And then, of course, JCap later
with the twit longer.
yes, did a twit longer
Yeah.
about his previous history with the team, and it turned into this whole big drama. And then you had Thorin jump in, and then it just got weird.
I mean, I thought it was.
I think
I
it's
thought it was
just-
already. I thought it was already like kind of at the peak of where it could go.
yeah.
And then Thorin from the CS:GO community decided, I'm just going to go to war with everyone in Call of Duty. I mean, no one was safe. He attacked amateur players, girlfriends. Like, no one was safe. It was ridiculous.
Well, I think Thorin did what Thorin does, right?
Yeah,
and then I think Richard Lewis tweeted something about it. He's like, if you don't know Duncan, you know that he does everything he probably shouldn't do. But not to focus too much on that. I think there was also the drama with Celium and snaking. Beezy put out that tweet defending him. Octane was mad. Slasher brought up others. Oh, it's a whole thing. There's been a lot of drama, and COD is at its best when there's Twitter drama. I love it so much.
I know.
Twitter fingers get rolling, and the fans. I mean, imagine when Dallas plays LA Thieves. That is going to be insane.
Oh, it's gonna be great.
Like,
it's gonna be great.
It's gonna be. Everybody's gonna be watching the match and like refreshing Twitter the entire time. Like when it's over, it's gonna be insane.
They're gonna turn on notifications for Strode, turn them on for Courage.
So like, I think it's a good and a bad thing. Like,
and
it's
Thieves
definitely a good thing
Thieves
for him.
versus FaZe 2 again.
Thieves Optic as well. Like, there's so many.
My gosh.
There's so many good matches. Take Dallas Thieves, Optic and LA, or Optic and Atlanta. Mix them up in any way, and it's a great series.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think the thing that I'm always curious of is like, is any of this kind of that pro wrestling type of mentality where there's a little bit of blurring of the lines between reality? I think a lot of this is, or most of it is real, especially when it was the Courage thing and getting into like some personal stuff with JCap thing. But I'm here for all of it, honestly. I think it brings attention to the league. Gets things more exciting, like you said. Now a lot of these matches, I mean, they already meant stuff because money was on the line, points are on the line, pride is on the line. But now it's just it gets the fan bases engaged too. So I'm here for all of it, honestly.
Yeah, I think that in this case there was a sprinkling of showmanship, but I do think that it got like very real.
Yeah.
very.
I mean, it all had, I think, a net positive in terms of bringing a ton of awareness. I think it got the Call of Duty League Twitter to 1 million followers, some other stuff. So clearly it worked. But yeah, that was a little more raw than I think some of the kind of banter that we get between these teams.
Yeah.
I love it though. Do it again. Run that shit back, guys. I love it. The TL is hot.
Yeah, I will say that like I enjoyed it, like seeing like the inner COD like banter, but when somebody else like jumped in from the outside, it just felt like weird. Like I don't know, it was weird in a sense, but then also like seeing like we argue, like the COD community argues amongst each other, but then as soon as Thorin inserted himself, we all just like kind of like, no, get him out of here. Like,
well, it was like
we can talk crap to each other, but
like
no outsiders, man. Yeah.
Is that kind of thing where like, hey, I'm the only one who's allowed to talk trash about my little brother?
It was like
sister, right?
It was like we were arguing on two sides, and then we all just like agreed on one thing at the end of the day, and then like thinking and
exactly what Allie, what Murder Babe said in chat. Don't nobody mess with us but us.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. It's always been that way, and I enjoyed seeing that for sure.
If anything, it's not a dull moment, and I can appreciate that.
Yeah, and especially, I mean, with the way that obviously pandemic hit and then CDL, I've always been saying CDL did one of the best jobs of moving things quickly online and really kind of making a league that matters, that has, a great production quality. I mean, viewership was up last year from offline to online, but we don't have the same kind of, two teams at the setups across from each other, yelling at each other between matches. So this is the Twitter fights is kind of the substitution for this in some ways. So I'm here for all of it, and lots of spicy matches to come up.
I'm sure. And I mean, already the major hasn't disappointed. You have London, you're poking them with a stick, like, do something. You can't win a series. You haven't won a series yet. You have Atlanta, the only team remaining who's undefeated. And you've got an absolute slugfest out of Optic and Dallas. I'm hoping I'm hoping that the grand finals are as good of a series as that. Because I think at that point, I'm like, I want to see the viewership. I think it's going to be incredible. But so far, the major has not disappointed, at least for me. I think it's been excellent.
Oh, it's been great. I think finals are like best of 9 or something like that this time
it's going to
around.
be a slog. Yeah.
So that's going to be awesome. And then, some of the matches we have left, like we get to see Dallas versus Atlanta in the winners finals.
Oh, and that's okay.
What else do you
That
have
is
for
what I am so excited for, because last year, consistently, raw talent, Atlanta is better than Dallas, but Dallas has the discipline and the communication, and I think the pacing last year that they were always going to beat them every single time. This year, I look at it, I'm like, okay, 4v4, not quite as chaotic. Atlanta does seem more disciplined, so who comes out on top this time, especially now that you have Arcity's Simp and Abeezy back together?
Right.
Yeah.
So let's take it back a bit. 2019 CWL, we were in the pro league back then. What's your take on how things have evolved since it was kind of back CWL? We have franchising. How do you think the whole transition has been? Transition to first we had 5v5, now 4v4, and obviously a wrench was thrown into it with this whole COVID situation. But what have been kind of your thoughts, looking at it all from the development of it?
Well, I think that launching a brand new franchise league and then getting hit with a pandemic, no one could ever predict that. So I think that Activision and the league have handled that with as much grace as you possibly could expect. And they've worked around that issue as best you could expect. I think there's been certain things, the 5v5 to the 4v4, I think that could have been done better. I don't know all of the inside information, but I think that transition could have been a bit smoother, because for someone obviously like Clay, he was given 24 hours to celebrate his back-to-back champs wins. By the way, you're kicked, have fun finding a new team. That's tough, right? And I think I can understand no additional teams coming in this year, part and parcel with pandemic. And I think when I look at the teams, I would love to see them have a little more freedom of expression with what they can do in terms of apparel and merchandise. Because I think it's pretty streamlined right now. But overall, when I look at this, viewership is up. I think they've dealt with YouTube production hiccups as well as they could. YouTube, Twitch was built on live streaming. YouTube was not built on live streaming. And I think certain things like the ability to even just rewind immediately is so good. But there's also buffering issues, quality drop issues that I think they're getting better with. So overall, I'm impressed. I think they've had a lot of unexpected stuff thrown at them while also doing something for the first time. So you can't not be impressed by that, at least from my point of view.
Yeah, and the quality of players in the league is also another absolute
it's incredible
blessing that we have. The league has done a really good job, like you said, during the pandemic, but the players have done a really good job of kind of adapting and making sure that these matches, these league matches and these tournaments really count, and it matters for the growth of COD, because it could have really been stunted had we not had these things during the pandemic. So I agree. Overall, CDL, great. Obviously, there's growing pains and stuff like that, but that's with anything you ever do in esports. So I think we're in a really good spot, and I think the major this week kind of shows that from my point of view.
Are you a fan of this format that we have right now, KD?
Oh, it's a vast improvement from last year. And again, I have to give them props from last year that they heard the feedback from fans and from players and initially changed it, which I love, because last year we had some issues with devs not seeming like they were caring about the competitive side of COD. This year as well, I think that it's also been another iteration in the right direction. And that's going to be a continually evolving thing. I think when people say we want it to be perfect right now, you need to understand that this league is a year and a half, not even old. You gotta give it time to evolve. And I think the iterations they've done, I love the major format. I'm so happy that we have this big tournament now with everyone involved. It'll be interesting to see champs, when you have those top 8 teams. But I think for right now, I'm satisfied with how it's playing out so far.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think the last event that we went to, Hunter and I went to, which maybe was the last one. No, I don't think it was the last one.
There's
but it was
LA
the,
after, yeah.
Yeah, it was the Atlanta Homestead or Home
Mhm.
Series. I don't know what it's called, but
During
but
Modern
really getting to
Warfare,
see that
yeah.
realized is really awesome. Like I think that post COVID, vaccines starting to get rolled out. Hopefully by this summer we'll all be. I don't know what the exact numbers are, but like things are getting better. But getting to see a glimpse of what it could be, like we live in Atlanta, or I do. Getting to see the kids there, getting to see, I think like Offset was out there. There was a lot of like local athletes and stuff. The potential for this is so big, and I really am seeing kind of especially in the future, I think as we come out of this pandemic, people are going to want to be going out and going to things and rallying around their city.
Oh,
and
yeah.
We kind of see it with as sports starts to open up a little bit more and more. I could really see people gravitating more towards this geolocation thing. Like people in Minnesota. Yeah, I want to go to a Rocker game. Like, I don't know what this Call of Duty thing is, but hey,
it's my hometown team, and I want to go.
It's my hometown team, and I haven't been outside in a year.
And that's a great point too. Like that's something to keep in mind, guys. That franchising and homegrown teams, like that takes some time. It takes a couple years of that team, making their roots, making their foundation in a city. So I think you're absolutely right, and I think if they can especially to appeal to kind of the parents. And I think COD's always done a decent job with the LAN events to give things for parents to do. But like, if you encourage those parents of like, this is a fun thing you can take your kid to and kind of have this, moment, this outing with your child where you can, learn about why they love this video game and kind of get involved, I think is so crucial. But just please no more celebrity show matches. I'm begging. They are spending hundreds of thousands of dollars, and there's so many different places that they could put that money. That's all.
Yeah, 100%.
Unless there's a celebrity who's like close to pro level, but I don't know.
Like if you get like a LeBron or something, like you get Tom Brady to show up or something. But
actually, I heard Anthony Davis. I don't know if he's good, but I because I'm a Lakers fan, I heard that he made an official complaint when they were at the NBA bubble last year. He's like, this internet is not good enough. We need to either change hotels, or I want LAN or like Ethernet installed in our hotels because I'm playing Warzone and Call of Duty. Like, this is not okay.
And like
one of his only tweets during the bubble, like, because I'm a huge Lakers fan, I'm watching every tweet that they put out, was something about like they really need to do something about these hackers, and I forget what gun it was. He's like, this gun is overpowered for Warzone. That was the only tweet. And like my dad, who's a hardcore Lakers fan, he's like, I know, like, it's cool that he's into COD and all that, but like, can he focus on the game? I was like, Dad, this stuff is important to him. But it's awesome to see that.
He's focusing on the game by having a thing that relaxes him outside the game.
Yeah.
Not in those tweets, but
a lot of people don't even realize that about esports athletes. Like, they'll see like pro players like playing like something else on stream to like relax. Like, oh, dude, like, nice, you're gonna get T6 again. Like, nice, another T8. It's like, dude, like, you don't realize that like pro athletes are out like golfing, like doing those things. Like, just because we're a gamer and like we said, like we play games all day does not mean that like we just have to play one game,
Well, also it's like people I think still
like
have that mentality of like, yeah, it's your job, but you're still playing a game, so it's fun. It's like, no, it's your job. And who wants to spend 24 hours a day with like, it's okay. I totally agree with you. It's okay to have off time to give yourself mental resets. And anyone who says otherwise, I don't think has ever been in that position.
Yeah, and actually, so because of the pandemic and everything, the Cleveland Browns, they had that problem where their coach got COVID, and I think offensive coordinator, and they had to bring in a bunch of like backup offensive linemen and stuff. They couldn't practice for a week, and they won the playoff game. So it brought up a lot of questions in the sports community. Are we doing this wrong? Like, should we maybe not practice every single day of the week? 5 hours a day? Should we maybe rest more? Is rest maybe the answer? Like, maybe there's another way to look at it. And I think that's also true for esports. And, maybe it's not worth it grinding, every GB and grinding, pro points 12 hours a day maybe some time off, maybe play a little Valorant, maybe play a little, whatever your friends are playing, League of Legends. Like, I think that there's something to be said. Like, they have the muscle memory, they have the skills. Like a LeBron James, how much better is he going to get from shooting 100 more jumpers, for practice, right? Maybe he needs that time in the hot tub or whatever, resting, right? So I think there is something to be said about that. And the Cleveland Browns beating the Steelers with no practice at all, no head coach, that really opened up a lot of people's eyes to hey, we should maybe think about this differently. Maybe we're doing this wrong.
Well, yeah, it's also the mental fitness argument, right? Your mental fitness is not necessarily a tangible thing people can witness until you have a breakdown.
Yeah.
So people
I have witnessed the breakdown.
Yeah, people forget that pros need that time to get their mental unwound, to get refreshed. Because you can have the best gunny in the world, but if you're stressed out of your mind and all you're doing is playing COD 24/7 when you don't want to be, your mental is going to dip and everything else follows with it. It's just, I think sometimes it's hard for viewers to realize that because, it's not like a broken arm or a broken hand or something like that. It's not a tangible thing you can see. So I think sometimes it's out of sight, out of mind for folks, even though it's extremely important.
Yeah. And I think that, I don't want to speak for him or anything, but I think, last year, a lot of people were like, what's up with Dashy? Why isn't he playing? He said he didn't like the game. He's coming out this year just frying, just looking like the absolute beast that he is. I think there's a lot to be said. If you don't like the game, if you're not enjoying yourself, whether it be COD or any esport or any sport, if you're not enjoying it, it's really hard to perform at a peak level. And, taking time off is never a bad thing. When you're a top talent, that roster spot, maybe not on that same team, but there will be a roster spot for you. I think the mental health aspect of things and just the self-care aspect of things, take some time to really especially with this pandemic, what I've realized, a lot of time spent alone. If you need some time, take that time for yourself.
Yeah.
We've seen how well Dashy does now. He hasn't lost a step.
No, he has not. It's actually insane to watch him play this year. It's literally like Black Ops 4 level.
I want snipers so bad, please.
Yeah, and it's it was
a sniper, please.
His Tempest was crazy too. He had some of the craziest centering in COD. So.
Oh, he was gross. I am going to throw this out there as a contentious point that BO4's entire design gave you no punishment when you made a mistake. Did not matter when you made a mistake because just stim. I made a mistake. Doesn't stim. So I'm just I think in terms of BO4, in terms of it did open up the avenue for some crazier plays just because your mistakes weren't punished quite as aggressively as in say a Cold War. But no, I agree. I'm hoping that now that smokes, at least the one way in the smoke has been fixed. I know auto aim is probably always going to be an issue with smokes and COD, but hopefully we can see a reintroduction of smokes, which also means a reintroduction of maybe snipers into something like Surge. Get those in the hands of Dashy, Cammy, Simp, other folks, and I think that suddenly that makes those viewing experiences.
The casual fans love the snipes too.
It's so fun! It's so fun. Everyone waits and holds their breath at the start of each round. Does Simp do this? Does he get this jump shot with his snipe? Imagine you're on Moscow, you're on defense, you're over by the bomb site, you jump that little heady by fountain, and you snipe someone coming down lane. It's I just want that so bad. I want that so bad.
Yeah.
I also love the hit markers, when I almost got you. There's such a good feeling. Or not a good feeling for them, but such a good viewing experience feeling. It's something that we're definitely missing.
For Black Ops 4, I know. So you were on the desk obviously for the Pro League. Was that the first COD that you kind of really dove in and learned, or did you were you kind of into COD before that, or how did that go? How hard was it with specialists and all that kind of stuff?
So I had played COD casually my entire life. So I've been in games for forever. Shout out Modern Warfare 2. I stand by best campaign in any Modern Warfare ever.
I agree.
But so I'd always played COD, but I had not had any introduction to CompCon. I didn't know who
Same
was.
here.
Like, no idea. Like, when I went into that, I literally, when I would do my flights back and forth and prep before the league started, I literally made these online flashcards that had the pros pictures on the front of the flashcard, and on the back it would say their name, their gamer tag, what team they were on last year, what team they're on this year, and
Like a trading card.
Yeah, literally, I had
Nice.
I had trading cards for all of these pros. I had like 100 something of them, and I
should have got lineman to make you some special ones.
Dead ass, thank you.
That would have been
I
nice.
would go through these over and over and over and over and over, and that was really my first introduction to the pros. So it was kind of funny when I'd meet them in person and be like, "Oh, I think you're Donnie, you're temp. I remember your card in my mind."
Yeah.
But no, it was definitely a transition, especially since I was so unfamiliar with it. I actually it was my first real introduction tangibly into being super in the weeds of an esport. So even learning the different game modes, the structure within the game modes, how all of that worked. Yeah, all the brackets, everything else. Like, I'd never been in that before. So it was a really steep learning curve at first. And I'm sure if you went back and looked at some of those VODs from something like CWL Vegas, you'd have some moments where you watched just the light die in my eyes because I realized I didn't know what to say or what to do. But
no, you picked it up fast though. You picked it up real fast.
you.
Like,
Well,
by the
I've gotta
time it
give
was
a shout
pro league.
I've got to give a shout out to Ethan. He was our producer, who's literally, he's a godsend. He was so helpful to me and to everyone on the desk, to study, to Pac-Man, to Nameless. They went above and beyond to help me. They outside of work, any questions I had, any help I needed, they were always there to help me make sure I was caught up to speed. So big shout out to them for that. But it was a lot. I'm not gonna lie, it was a lot. And like at what was it? Why am I forgetting? In Texas, Fort Worth. Fort Worth. If you watch that very ending VOD after LG wins, I go to announce the winner at the very end. I'm like, congratulations again to our winner, Luminosity Gaming. I forgot their name. And that's why I say thank God to Ethan, my producer, because I paused and I hear him hit the button in the back and go, Luminosity Gaming, LG. And I was like, thank you.
Oh, is he in your ear? Like,
yeah,
he clutched it out.
I totally blanked. Once we went off camera, the entire desk lost their shit. They all started like heads on the desk, dying laughing after they saw that. But yeah, to answer the question, long story short, it was a big learning curve to get over.
Yeah.
But you definitely picked it up fast. I mean, we were in the pro league. I mean, we qualified through the pro league qualifier with an amateur team, along with that midnight squad, who I want to talk about a little bit about because that's the greatest like mystery of COD. Like how good could they have been?
Yeah, what could have been? Yeah.
And I think people who maybe started watching CDL this year or last year when it just started don't know about this midnight team, but they were something else. But by the time that you were casting over our matches at the pro league, like I would have thought that you would have been a pro at this for ages. Like you definitely
thank you. I appreciate that. Also, I got to give this shout out. Thank you guys so much for sending me that World Tour hoodie.
Oh yeah.
I think like a year ago. It's been a while, but I love that hoodie. Whenever I wear it on my stream, people always are like, "Where can I get that? Can I buy that?"
Oh,
you can.
Exclusive for the stream. So that's a very limited drop. That's one of our most famous, or not famous, most popular and coveted drops. We may be re-releasing it again this year.
Ooh, well, I'm not kidding. I've had people over and over ask me about like, oh my God, where can I get that? So the demand is there, and I love that hoodie. It's great.
And we'll hook you up again with the next drop that we do.
Let's go. I love that.
Yeah.
So let's take a little trip down memory lane, Hunter, with Midnight, because we talked about this with we talked about those skies actually, and even with Detach. That was just something that I think none of us expected. Or Hunter, you've been in the COD community for a while. Like, you know, some of these kids, you knew Envoy for a while.
Yeah.
Like how can you explain that to people who don't watch COD? What is a parallel to that?
Sheesh. It would be a parallel. I don't know if there's a direct sports parallel, but I can kind of tell their story. So Midnight esports as like just an esports organization. Went to CWL Vegas, the first event of Black Ops 4, and they didn't make the Pro League qualifier, which you had to get top 32 make. So they ended up forming a new team as an organization. They formed a new team, and it was Envoy, Lamagod, Parzalion, Brack, and Jet.
Were any of those guys pros before that?
Lamagod was pro, I think maybe in like IW or Infinite Warfare, Call of Duty Infinite Warfare, maybe. And then outside of that, I think the best placement was Envoy during like Advanced Warfare when he was like 15 or 16. So like, I guess upper level amateur players that are like looking not just for like their first like road to glory, I guess, but like their first like big time matches against like good teams or at the Pro League qualifier. And they ended up just showing up and going 6-0 in their pool, or 5 or 6-0, or whatever it was. They beat 100 Thieves.
They went perfect. Yeah,
it's like kind of just like the leftovers, the scraps of like teams that kind of just fell apart after the first event of the year, and they kind of just came together and had some of the best teamwork I've personally ever seen in COD. But I will say, and I'll give Envoy a lot of credit for that team, because he kind of had that effect, like no matter what team he goes on, as soon as Envoy's on a team, that team gets better no matter what. And their coach Ricky Arturo was really good. It's really hard to draw that direct parallel. It would be like maybe like a college team like coming in and just beating a bunch of pro teams, because like they were like literally amateur players that came and beat all the pros. I guess that would maybe be the.
And they were ahead. They were kind of ahead of the curve in terms of like game knowledge. Like it seemed like they knew things that no one else knew.
Yeah, they came in and everyone was like, did you build the lab? You're not only in the lab, but did you construct the entire lab, and you've denied access to everyone else? Like, where did you guys come from? I remember we'd watch on the desk and we'd be like,
what's happening?
I don't know what's happening, but I like it.
And they were using, some of them were like, Envoy was using different attachments than every other pro in the league. And like people were, they were just the ultimate underdogs, but like the underdogs that slayed everyone. I mean, they beat they went undefeated in their first run through pro league, and unfortunately, circumstances out of their control caused them to break up. But that's the big question: like, what could they have been through that season, through champs? What could they have been? Maybe being picked up by a franchise.
Oh yeah, I mean, they could have been great if that core had stuck together and refined themselves further. It was so sad when it all fell apart, because it was an incredible storyline and it just got wiped out. But no, I think they would have continued to be an extremely good team.
Is Envoy the only one in the league right now out of them? I think so, right?
Yeah.
I think so, yeah. Brack was Black Ops 4, but yeah, and then Cold War, but he was a sub. I think, he was a sub the entire time for Toronto, right? I don't think he came in.
Yeah, no, he never played.
They had the Team A, Team B thing.
Yeah. I'd love to see Brack back in the league, actually, but
same.
No, I mean, Envoy though ascended now, the young prince for Chicago.
That guy's godlike.
He's incredible. I mean, his search plays, everything he does, he's so good. He's just so good. You look at him on that team and surrounded by the veteran knowledge that he has and the support he gets out of Hex and everyone else, like Envoy is going to continue to be a dominant player. I think.
I mean, it's really like, so when like an NFL team drafts really high in the draft and gets a quarterback, and they don't play him that first year, like Tua got drafted by the Dolphins and he was playing under Fitzpatrick, or there's a few examples of this. Like Tom Brady didn't play his first year right into the playoffs. Like you get to learn a lot, but I feel like getting to play with Scump, he's starting, so it's not the same parallel, but like getting to play with Scump and you're already as good as Envoy is, and he's a smart player too. Like he's mechanically talented, smart player, great strategist, picks things up fast.
Yes.
I mean, getting to play with guys like Scump and Formal and just getting this knowledge, like I can only imagine what that's going to do for his development going on here. I mean, he's already here, but I'm honestly thinking like a few years from now, 5 years from now, we could be talking best player in the league potentially.
Well, yeah, and he's always been up there the last few years anyway. He's always been excellent, and So yeah, I agree to be with the likes of Scump, the likes of Formal, but also I had mentioned Hex before.
Oh yeah,
Hex as an owner, when you are one of his people, he takes care of you at a level that I think is probably at the very, very top of the league. And this was, I did I used to do articles with Call of Duty League. The last one I actually did was with Optic Chicago, and it was about them getting Optic back, and I was talking with Formal for it. And Formal said that same thing. He said that being with Hex is an unmatched org owner when it comes to supporting his players.
Yeah.
And I think not only supporting them, but pushing them. So I think and Envoy is he could not ask to be in a better position than he's in right now. And I think based on his gameplay, I only expect to see him excel.
Absolutely. So, we've asked this question to every guest that we've had COD related. With the amount of teams that we have now, and it going down to 4v4, it's been very hard for people to get spots. A lot of people who deserve to be in the league, or that's a nice picture that was just shown on stream of Nick, our GM. Obviously, used to work for Hex and Optic. Nick has the title of the actual most championships won by a console esports coach. 22-time champion. Coach. 22 or 23-time champion. Yeah, Gears of War Dynasty for Optic, Gears, and then later under us, like they won a whole season just like unheard of. 22 champs under his name. With that Hector support. Yeah, with the Hector support. So we have that. We have that tie there. I think it's great that Optic's back. I love that Optic is back under Hex's control. We got FaZe in there. We got Thieves in there. We got some legacy brands. But Katie, what in your dream scenario, I give you the keys to the league. We're going to open up 4 new teams next year. Where do you want to see those teams? What cities or what regions?
I love this question.
Yeah.
Some of the teams will also be some of the rumored teams we've heard about. First off, there's rumors of a Charlotte team. I want a Charlotte team, and I want them to pick up a shameless plug for my boyfriend, but John, Tupac Thug Lord, you guys know him. S&D.
Absolutely.
He's the S&D, the S&D legend, the GOAT. Get that Charlotte team.
Is he from Charlotte? Is that what you're saying?
And lives in Charlotte. And
gotcha.
I would love to see a Charlotte team for a lot of reasons. I'd love to see some more East Coast teams and a couple more Southern teams. I'd really like that. So Charlotte first and foremost. Vegas. I would like to see a Vegas team. We don't have a Vegas team. Vegas would be a ton of fun.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yes, imagine the Vegas events.
I will go to every Vegas.
CWL Vegas in Black Ops 4 was unmatched. That event was so awesome. I would do anything to have a COD event in Vegas again.
Wow. Yeah, so give me a Charlotte team, give me a Vegas team. Next up, give me a Madrid team. Give me Heretic. Vamos. I would love to see Heretics involved once again. And so I think we could do Madrid, Charlotte, Vegas. Okay. If I had to pick one more, that's a good one. That's really tricky because I want to default and say Washington DC because the OWL team is being rumored to want to get a COD team, but that feels kind of like a cop out.
Did you used to live in DC too?
Yeah, so I lived there for a number of years. I actually emceed the last in-person event for Washington Justice before COVID shut everything down. Yeah.
Do you think they'd have a good fan base behind them there?
Yeah, I think it would be pretty solid. I'm actually very good friends with the Washington Justice super fan, my friend Chris.
Awesome.
So he would instantly become the super fan for a DC team. But honestly, location-wise, I'd kind of like to see something in the Midwest, somewhere that maybe like a Colorado, or not that it's Midwest, but like maybe a Colorado team or something within the Midwest.
Yeah.
A Denver team would be excellent. Yes, a Phoenix team. And if it was, I would like to see E United back in the league. I love E. They're such a great org, but yeah, so I'd say maybe something Colorado, but Vegas, Charlotte, and definitely Madrid.
I think EU and the Midwest would make sense with a lot of what they do, who's involved there. it's a question of where you go in the Midwest. Because I mean,
Right.
with Chicago Optic, that's such a big
St.
powerhouse.
Louis.
Right.
I mean, St. Louis is a good pick. I mean,
New Orleans. Oh wait, it's not Midwest, but could we get a New Orleans? Imagine going to New Orleans
I would
and
love a New Orleans
Vegas.
team.
Oh,
I mean, on the podcast with
I've been to a few events in
on
New
the
Orleans.
podcast with
They're godlike.
Attach, I said, like if we ever, going for a bid, hypothetically going for a bid for a team, I'm gonna try and get the Hawaii spot, even though it's like totally not a good idea because of plane
That'd be
flights and everything.
crazy.
But we would have the bet. Like everyone would love to come to our home series. But
Yeah, if you need an MCU to come out.
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Actually, the idea that I came up with, which is better, which I think the league should do. Remember when the Pro Bowl used to do Hawaii all the time? We should do our All-Star game over in Hawaii. That's the
Yes,
That-
someone
that's
would
the
get
way
in
to do
trouble
it.
though. This
Somewhere-
is the only danger
Yeah.
thing of a New Orleans, a Vegas, or a Hawaii is that
Mhm.
at least one pro is getting in trouble while we're there.
Oh yeah, it happens every time.
100% of the time.
But I would
Yeah.
love to see. I'd love to see a Midwest team, and then as this thing grows, I mean, if you look at Overwatch League and how big it is,
Mhm.
the question is like, and now we're on PC. Do we maybe see a Tokyo team or a Seoul team? Like, do
Ooh.
we start to see that expansion? Do we
I would
see
love to see
maybe
that.
something in South America? I mean, Heretics
Mhm.
is great. Obviously, Heretics is great, but like Latin American, South America is a
Mhm.
big market too. Maybe a Brazilian team. I mean, there's a lot. Mexico team. There's a lot that I'd like to see. And so I'm very excited for the possibility of expansion, more players in the league, more fans, and I mean, it's really. I mean, we got early reports were like that they want to get up to 30. We got a lot of ways to go, a lot of teams to
Yeah.
to get on the books, and I like that Charlotte pick too. Maybe we get Michael Jordan in on the ownership. I mean, he
Well,
owns
yeah,
the-
exactly, right? A lot of people don't realize
Makes a lot of sense
Hornets,
actually.
Michael
Yeah.
Jordan.
He owns the
It's-
Hornets. They got
I will-
LaMelo Ball. They're a franchise on the rise right now.
I will say though, for having Michael Jordan as your owner, your team is ass.
I know they got lucky.
Yeah,
They,
they are.
they have finally picked a good draft pick for the first time in like they've had so many high draft picks, and finally they lucked into getting LaMelo Ball at 3, who
Mhm.
I wasn't like super high on, but it turns out the kid is a stud and he's everything that Lonzo was supposed to be for our Lakers. So congrats to Michael
Ooh.
Jordan. You won one there.
Well, and even with the Panthers too,
Uh-huh.
there's a lot of Panthers. Like I hope he gets re-signed, but Mike Davis, the running back
Uh-huh.
who came in for Christian McCaffrey this
Yeah.
year, I can't believe I know all of this, by the way. But Mike Davis is a big COD guy. He loves Warzone. He plays a
Really?
lot with John. Yeah, I think
That is cool.
John went live a little bit ago. I think he's actually playing with Mike right now. But Mike likes COD a lot. There's so many NFL players who love Warzone and really love COD
Yeah.
that I
yeah.
think it's an untapped. You go in and I know that Gorillas do like a bit with the Rams, but I would like to see
They
these
should do
teams-
more. Yeah.
Yeah, do
Way
more.
more.
Like yes, you can use the stadium for your cool intro videos, but like
They're
do
owned by the same
more with
people.
them. Yes, you've got Kroggy, do more with them. And so I think something like Panthers 2, get the players involved would be really cool for them.
Yeah, and
Yeah, absolutely.
you know, Carolina, because I'm in Atlanta, and I have cousins up in Carolina. My aunt teaches at Duke. Like that whole college, what's it called? Like the Trinity, NC State, Duke, and North Carolina.
Mhm.
It is a hotbed for sports fans. If you can tap into that, I mean, you've got a lot there. I do think Carolina's a great pick. And really, I'd like to see more done with the pros. NFL pros, NBA pros. I see tweets sometimes where like they're tweeting about COD, and I'm just like connecting the dots in my head. I'm like, wait, you're on a team that has ownership, that has a stake in this CDL team. Why aren't they
Asking you. Yeah.
Why aren't they putting it together? Why are you just like tweeting it out like, hey, do any COD pros want to play Warzone? I'm like, bro, your owner also owns a stake in this CDL team. Like, let's
Right.
put it together. Let's
Mm.
let's all work together to build this bigger, you know?
No, I think it'll get there for sure. We've already seen such an integration. And think that there's not a lot of upsides to the pandemic, but I think one of the upsides of it has been kind of this big commingling of folks in sports, in the arts, in music and sports specifically, starting to commingle and play a lot.
Yes.
With COD folks. COD has been a big conduit for this connection of these worlds, of all these different worlds coming together. And getting even folks like T-Pain streaming now, and like there's so many people doing so many cool things that
Shady playing with Schoolboy Q, like
Yeah,
oh my gosh,
Shady.
Shady, he was over at my house right after he met him. And that man, I swear to God, I don't think I've ever seen him that excited in my life. Shout out to Shady.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, we love Shady.
We're big
Shady's
fans.
a rock star.
We are big fans of Shady, friends of UYU and the podcast. Have you, this is a segue, but have you had any of his famous cooking?
Yes. Okay, so I do a show with Shady and Cole, and I'm very lucky because I can't cook, but I'm very good at cleaning.
Yes.
It's called Cooking in the Shade, and we do it at my house whenever he comes down. He does the drive down pretty frequently. He was here a couple days ago, and we set up all the cameras in our kitchen, and Cole and Shady will come up with what they want to cook that night, and then we live stream the whole thing. And usually
it's a great show.
Yeah, Shady helps integrate me into kind of doing the prep, which is wonderful because I've learned things from cooking with Shady, and oh my gosh, he's so good. Like the jambalaya,
the pictures I see are just
pizza, the steak, the teriyaki glaze, the miso glazed salmon that Cole makes is chef's kiss. It's so
I know,
good.
chef's
so
kiss.
good.
Yeah,
it's so good. Yeah, I'm very lucky to be able to have Shady come over and cook for us. So.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, you know, if you can't cook, but you know someone who cooks, you can get in there if you volunteer to do the dishes or some prep work. That's what I've learned.
Oh yeah. If they cook, you clean. That's how it breaks down in a kitchen.
Yeah.
Unless it's like a special, if it's someone's birthday, then maybe you cook and you clean because it's a birthday.
Yeah.
Equal separation, guys. Do 50-50.
So where can people find that for our listeners?
So I believe we are a little bit remiss. We have not done one in a while. Cooking in the Shade. I need to make sure I found the correct Twitch videos. Let me see. So I think this is terrible that you've asked me this, and I don't know immediately. I believe it's that. I'm not sure though, because it doesn't have any videos, guys. I'm not gonna lie to you. That might not be the Twitch. I might be fumbling the bag bad, right?
Okay, well we will update it.
Shady's Twitter would be a good one for that.
Yes.
You go. Shady's Twitter would
be Twitch.tv/I'm so shady.
Yeah,
we will.
Yes.
In post production, we will put it in not post production. We'll put it in the YouTube description.
Perfect. Yes, exactly. And usually we do it on Shady's a lot, but seriously, it's a lot of fun.
So Katie, how has been the transition to being a full-time streamer? I've watched a lot of your streams. I mean, obviously I'm busy, but like I always keep a stream on this monitor, or you guys can't see, but I have two monitors here. How's that been? Like, were you streaming before, or is this a new endeavor?
It's been stressful and wonderful. All in one great package.
You seem to have a great community.
I am blessed, and I know that people use that hashtag blessed ironically all the time, but I say it from the bottom of my heart very sincerely. I am blessed to have such an incredible community on Twitch. So I started streaming in the off season after Black Ops 4. Actually, Bryce Vicento was the one who pushed me. He's like, "Why are you not streaming?"
Coach Bryce.
Yes, we love Bryce. He was like, "Girl, what are you doing? Do this right now." So I took the plunge and I invested in the PC, the whole shebang, and the reception was immediately wonderful. And it's been a long year, and streaming really has helped me get through that. So it's been a lot, honestly. It's been some highs and some lows, but I can say that the continued generosity and support from the stream has, in the middle of a pandemic, no less, really done a lot for my mental health. And so shout out to anyone from my stream who's in here. You guys are all goats and I love you.
Yeah. I mean, I think you made a great transition from, what you were doing to, streaming is something that I have been telling everyone, not just gamers, like everyone in my family, my friends, like, you guys should try streaming, especially in this pandemic, like, or try something creative, right? And if you play games, streaming is such an obvious thing, but I really feel like, because Hunter and I have started to do more content. Like we were behind the scenes at UYU before, but now we're more of content people. Obviously, this podcast is one example of it, but it really helps you to kind of, especially with where we are now in the world, like feel more of that connection, feel more of that, like getting to have that feedback with other people in the community. I mean, it's just a great thing. And it's a hard thing though. I will tell you, like Hunter and I are not not great streamers by any stretch of imagination. But.
Oh no, it's hard. I mean, it's a job at the end of the day, and there are days like this last week I've been putting in 10, 11 hour stream grinds. I did 9 hours yesterday, but I mean, I think kind of one of the problems in streaming is that there's so much praise on grind. Oh my God, wow, you did 24 hours. Oh my God, wow, you did 12 hours. Like go.
Yeah.
That it gets into this mentality of this kind of rat race you get on Twitch, which is true, honestly, that if you're not present, if you're not there all the time, then you're losing viewers and you're bleeding subs and you have to be on all the time and you can't relax and you can't play games in your spare time anymore because you have to be playing them on stream and all these different things. And you have to be entertaining on all the time. And it's so hard. Like, look at Dr. Lupo recently had, I don't want to say a breakdown because he didn't, but he had a moment on stream where now that all of his subs, all of that's going to St. Jude, he basically had this moment where he was like, I feel like I cannot take time to myself because I am letting people down. And that is not a healthy mentality for streamers to have. So I think there's a very fine balance there that we fall afoul of more often than not. I certainly have. There's days where I've dragged myself to stream and my stream has seen it. I've gotten an hour in and I'm like, guys, I can't. I'm trying so hard, but I just cannot do this right now. And I sign off. And that's not an ecosystem I think that we should be encouraging.
Yeah,
I agree with that. It's just like anything. I think it's just relates back to the conversation we were having about pro gamers before. It goes like with anything in life. If you do one thing too much, like you kind of like set like a certain standard for yourself in terms of like, not in terms of like growth, but in terms of like how much you're actually doing something. But like you people don't ever factor in like outside factors in their lives. Like some things can happen, like whether like, you know, you're overslept your alarm this morning, like whatever the case may be, like there's outside factors to a streamer's life that like you sometimes cannot do 8 hours a day. And like I hate that, seeing that in like Twitch chat, like, oh, you weren't live yesterday, or like if a streamer tweets out like, oh, I hope you guys understand. I hope you guys understand. Like, I feel like a streamer should not have to go on Twitch or on Twitter, and say, I'm not going to be streaming today. I'm so sorry. Like, I'll be live tomorrow. It should just be like, I'm taking the day off for myself, like, kind of thing. Or if you say anything at all, like, obviously, if you have a schedule, that's one thing. But like, it shouldn't be like them trying to apologize.
One of my favorite
that kind of like shows the issue to me. And
one of my favorite streamers is Eris. He's from the fighting game community, but he's a variety streamer. And when he wants a day off, he has no schedule. He will write on Twitter, 24-hour no stream hype.
I like that, but I like that. Put a positive spin on it. Like, I'm gonna go kick it. See you in 24.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's really important that people always remember that, because I think it's hard sometimes because they view you as you know, on the other side of the screen. You're kind of like
your entertainment.
You're a celebrity to them, but you're also a human being. That's what I always tell people when they're being toxic in chat, or like just like not understanding, or like even when they're being really shitty towards players in games. I'm like, these are human beings on the other side. Like, think about that for a second. Just like, you know, think about the humanity in it. And I think we could all do better with some positive vibes.
Be understanding. And I don't think people also realize, like, you're on camera the whole
it's hard
time.
It's so hard.
It's not like you just verbally have to be engaged. You have to, everything about your life in that moment is on display. And it can be 8 or 9 hours of it. That is hard for someone. And now do that for 3 years. every day because most streamers don't know how to take a break. So you're doing 8 to 9 hours, 7 days a week for years where you have to be on the entire time. And you have that. Yeah, it can be an extremely toxic thing. But no, I love that you, Drew, call that out. And I think it's kind of a responsibility for people. If you see someone, even if they're not intentionally being toxic, but for example, in John's chat, when he's playing Warzone, people will come in and they won't even say hi. They'll just say, "Are you playing S&D? Where's the S&D? No Cold War tonight?" And I'm like, I know you're not trying to be toxic, but you're putting this undue pressure on him that you're basically saying, you're streaming, why aren't you doing the things that I want you to be doing?
Yeah.
And I think there's kind of like layers of that, of these expectations you have. And as you said, Drew, like, we're people, we're human beings.
Yeah.
We're not just your television, your TV show, will be on every day at 6 p.m.
Yeah, we're not. I mean,
True.
I don't stream like gameplay, but it's not for just the enjoyment of the other person. It's a symbiotic relationship. And I do hate when people, big streamers, small streamers, when they go outside of their comfort zone to try a new game. Because I think playing new games is great, and like discovering new games, learning new games. That's like part of my joy of being a gamer, is like a new release or a new game, story mode or something like that. I hate the people who come in chat and like, why aren't you playing this? Like, whatever your main game is. Where's the league? No league today?
Yes.
Like, no league, no COD, I'm out. Like,
side note, most of those people aren't subs. Most of the time it's not going to be subs, right? It's people who are for fee anyway. And I'm like, you cheap bitch. Maybe you can ask me to play something if you give me that nice $5 a month.
Yeah. It's like,
Amazon,
go hit the directory, brother. Like,
hit me with that Prime. Hit me with that Prime.
Yeah.
Just a friendly reminder, everyone, if you have Amazon Prime, you can use that sub. If you don't use it every month, it just goes away. So you should definitely use that.
They take that money and just
and run with it. I got a recommendation. Why not give it to Katie Bedford? Twitch.tv/Katie Bedford.
Thank you. You are sweet for that. But yes, guys, also UYU TV, the channel you're on right now, guys, there's no reason to not use a Prime. Connect your Amazon with your Twitch and you get a free sub that costs you absolutely nothing that you can gift and give a smile to a streamer once in a while.
Use it or you lose it is actually
Colin Designs.
Yeah, use it.
There you go.
There it is.
Let's go.
But
use it, otherwise they just keep the
goes
money,
away.
So,
they keep the money. What I like to do sometimes is I go into a game I enjoy playing that's maybe not a big game, or like into the music category or something like that. And I find someone with like 2 viewers or 3 viewers, and I just throw them my Prime, and it makes their day. Like, it makes their week probably, and it costs me nothing. That sub was gonna go to waste anyways, and you never know what someone's going through. And being a streamer is really hard. Being a streamer is very hard when you have no viewers. And spread that love around. And I believe in karma and all these kind of things. It's a beautiful thing. And thank you very much for the sub, Colin.
Let's go, Colin.
Thank you, Colin.
We love that.
Appreciate it.
So, Katie, what are some of your predictions? We're gonna get into some picks now.
Ooh, I love this. Let me pull everything up.
Yeah, actually, I'll let Hunter take the lead on this because we do picks every week. Hunter started off very cold. We were I want to say almost.
You were slandering the name.
I was slandering Hunter because one week he got every prediction wrong except for 2.
Tough.
But
to be fair, there's been some very weird outcomes.
Yeah.
Yes. But he's making a comeback. Because we give these to people to do their own pick'ems, or to, if they're in a legal place, gamble responsibly. But Hunter was maybe losing some people their pick'ems, but now he's back. He's back on the winning streak. So let's go ahead and Hunter, you want to pull it up and go through a little bit of predictions?
Yeah, so my pick'ems are actually a little bit off, so I'm just gonna read the regular bracket.
Okay.
Nick, if you want to pull that up, you can. So I'm just gonna run through that. But
and this is for the open?
Yeah, this is for the major. But before we get into that, I want to point out that when we started doing pick'ems, I was getting memed every single week. And I'm looking at my leaderboard right now. I have 82 points in the pick'ems throughout the year, and I'm 76 out of everybody that does pick'ems. So that
Wait,
being
out of
said,
everyone in the
Drew,
world. Out of
yeah,
everyone in the
anybody
world?
in the world, I'm 76 right now. You go on the front, you go on COD League pick'ems right now. Go to the front page on the leaderboard and
Okay.
scroll to 76, and you'll see my name.
Ooh.
So with that being said, the slander has to stop. And listen closely to these picks.
The slander will stop. It's
Okay.
just that 1 week. We
I
told
deserve the
everyone.
week, but
We
it's
told
comeback
everyone
season.
these are the answers to the test. Follow the pick'em. Make your bets responsibly. And we lost. And whoever did bet money lost a lot of money because we got only 2 red out of the entire week. But we're making a comeback. All right, Hunter, go take it from here.
Okay, so winners finals is going to be Dallas Empire versus Atlanta FaZe. Sorry. So in this matchup, I'm going to actually go with the FaZe in Game 5. I just think that when the first major of the year here, I've noticed that FaZe seems like Katie pointed out earlier. Some issues they had were like with discipline and stuff like that, but I've seen Arcides really come into like his own this event, and obviously they're undefeated after all.
And Coach Crowder, shout out to the room.
So I have them Game 5. I just simply think that they're maybe a little bit better of a team. It's really a toss-up because just like my Chicago versus Dallas pick, like it was just a toss-up. Like any team can win it. It's probably going to be Game 5, knowing the CDL. So, Katie, who did you have in Dallas versus FaZe?
So I consistently picked Dallas every single time last year, but this time I lean toward Atlanta, and it's because I have faith that Arcides will get up to form. I think Arcides has been a little slow to get to where we know he can be. Not bad by any stretch of the imagination, but I think he's been a little bit under where we know he should be at. So I have faith though in Arcides to get there. And I think again for Simp and Abizi and Celium, just such a deadly trio to work with. So especially in those search and destroys as well, I think I would pick Atlanta in an S&D over Dallas any day because you have Illy on Dallas who's incredible at search, but you have Simp and Abizi and Celium on S&D. They're known as that S&D team. And also just the fact that they're undefeated right now. I got to give it right now to Atlanta, but it's, I think, like an Optic Dallas, not to cop out, but like it's going to be, I think, a 3-2 someone. And if it's not a 3-2, it's going to be the closest series ever. Like if it's a 3-1 or something, those games are going to come down to the wire, but I got to go with Atlanta.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm in agreement with you guys there. It's going to be a banger of a match. It's going to be absolutely fireworks. Definitely a 3-2. But you know what? I'm going to go with Dallas just to kind of hedge the bets here a little bit, and then I can say that I'm right if you guys are wrong. So, but honestly, I really think it's a pick 'em right there. I think they're both really evenly matched. I think Arcides is coming into his form. It is a new team, it takes adjustment, time for that role, but and he's also on my fantasy team, so shout outs to no, I traded him. Did I trade him?
Yeah, you traded him.
I traded him. Why did I trade him? I traded him. Anyways.
Trade him for who?
I traded Arcides. Hunter, do you remember the trade?
I don't. You should. It's your team.
Wait, I can look this up. But
I might judge you on this for depending on
I judged him, but
okay, wait. Hold on. So I had to make a trade because I had lost. Who did I lose? Alex visa issues. He was on my team, so I had to replace Alex. So I traded Arcides and someone for Crim 6 and a Seam. Who did I trade?
Oh no.
I'll find out. You guys keep talking.
What are you doing, man?
Oh no! You made a horrible trade.
Oh no! What'd you do?
I traded Arcides and Scump for a Seam and Crim 6.
You threw away your season, really. I mean,
I was panicking because Alex was gone and I needed a replacement.
Well, now you're dead.
The season's over, man.
I can't believe I traded Scump. What was I doing?
I mean,
Dude,
based on
just
Asim's
Alec,
performance so far, that's actually not terrible. I just think like if you're gonna take Asim and Krim or Scump and Arcides, like I'm gonna go with Scump and Arcides.
Yeah.
Asim's been having great. He didn't do so great today, but Asim has been gross for New York so far, which has made people talk about the Hydra thing. It's like whoever it was who tweeted about it, it was like Asim heard Hydra got his visa, and so he was like, "Which one of you three is getting benched? I'm not."
Yeah. So my fantasy team right now is Hook, who's been disgusting all year, carrying my team. Silly in the utility role. Crimsix is my AR. Dylan, I was thinking Dylan caught on London would be more back to his kind of Black Ops 4 form. Hasn't really exactly panned out for me. And then I have Asim filling in for Alex. So we'll see how that goes. But let's go back to the picks because I made it. My fantasy might be shocked.
Okay. So we had Dallas, Atlanta. What's up next?
We have LAG versus New York in a top 6 matchup, so loser side top 6.
Can we take a moment to say Clayster is playing out of his mind, and I would like to say that Clayster at his age, not that he's old, I think he's the equivalent of LeBron James on the Lakers right now. He's Claybron James.
No, I mean I agree, right? Clay is the oldest pro. He's 28. He's the oldest.
But he's putting up MVP numbers.
Yeah, MVP numbers. Yeah. And lest we forget, back-to-back champs rings. I don't care about the online argument. Don't care. He got back-to-back rings. He's gross. How many times has that man won in the last 2 years? A lot of times. He's won like 6, 7 times or something in the last 2 years. He's gross.
And the way that New York is performing with everything that they've had to go through. They had to go through Hydra not getting a visa. Tommy's unfortunate, situation with his health. Although Attach told us, podcast exclusive, it is not a retirement. It is time off.
A break, yeah.
Zuma will be back in competitive COD. That was Attach's word. His doing.
I love that, and it's been hard for Tommy, right? Because something like that, the rehab necessary, the PT necessary to get himself back, but it's not a problem you can necessarily fix. So that's I think a tough thing too. But I want to see Zuma needs to be back in the league. We need the Italian stallion. We need him back in the league. But I think
not the same without him. He's truly a staple.
For everything that's been thrown at New York. So when I look at this pick'em, Diamond Con is playing great. He was in the top 5 overall KDs going into the major. I think he was number 5 or number 4. He had like a 1.26, I think. Diamond Con's been great. I stand by the fact that Diamond Con won them that Florida series. He did. He was like, get your old bastard Clay in the backpack. Come here, Matt. Come here. I got y'all. Let's do this. Diamond Con was disgusting in that series against Florida today. So I think when I look at New York versus Gorillas, if Asim shows up, if Diamond Con is hot, if Clay keeps playing the way he's playing, then I definitely think that they beat Gorillas. But then again, if Apathy adopts some more children, then it's 100% a chance the Gorillas take it. But I lean for it.
I think it's gonna come down to like Vivid versus Asim. Like I think Vivid's just been disgusting as well.
Vivid's great.
Asim's been kind of like up and down, but if you look at the path so far for these two teams, starting with LAG, they 3-0'd the Thieves, winners round 1 of this whole tournament, and then they got 3-0'd by FaZe. And New York, on the other hand, they got 3-0'd by Chicago out of the gates. So it flipped, but then they got a huge win against Florida, Mat 5, today. So like they both had like their ups and downs in this tournament, and it's really like the inconsistency for me. Like I think it's gonna be a New York win. I would say maybe 3-1. But it's really hard to call because it could be 3-1 the other way, because sometimes like LAG's teamwork just seems like it's next level, like out of nowhere.
Yeah.
And they're very good in search and destroy. So you can't really afford to lose a respawn most of the time you play LAG.
Yeah.
You kind of have to clean those up. So.
But I do have to say, losers
depending on the map.
Placer though is a different animal.
Yeah, I saw him 3-1.
If there's anyone with leadership to pull through that kind of situation, it's Placer. So my pick is definitely New York on that.
Yeah. Agreed.
To be fair,
Were you-
last time I'm sure everyone picked against Gorillas. They swept Thieves.
Oh, I did, yeah.
Well, maybe we're making a mistake, but yeah, I gotta agree. We gotta go with New York.
Yeah. Ooh.
What's the next match?
one is Chicago Optic versus the Los Angeles Thieves.
Ooh.
Ooh,
Oh, man.
they were playing New York or lag. That's Chicago. I mean, last time they played, it was matches, and Optic. Pardon my French. Optic shit on their souls. It was horrific. It was the fastest 3-0 I think we've seen, except for that Florida series. Like that. Remember the control? What was it? Florida against Paris? Who was Florida? Was it Seattle? Who did Florida play in the major? That round 3 control on Garrison. That. They flew through that. It was like 2 days ago, I think.
I'm pretty sure.
The second round of that was literally over in like 45 seconds. It
might have been Seattle or Paris. Yeah, I can't remember. Yeah.
So, but anyway, I think since then we haven't seen a mollywhopping like that until we got to the major. So I mean, Thieves are my guys, but Optic is just, I think, in terms of teamwork, they're a mile ahead, and I got it to Optic. I don't know if it's going to be a 3-0 or a 3-1 or something, but I think probably like a 3-1 Optic.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Go ahead.
It goes Dallas, Atlanta interchangeable, like top 2 teams in the game, and then it goes Chicago, and then I think like teams like the Thieves, New York are a little bit below that, like Florida, LAG. I just think that their teamwork's just at another level. So definitely Chicago. My mind.
Yeah, and it's like that's something I've said.
It'll be close.
Teams like Optic, Dallas, Atlanta are teams where even Thieves to an extent, not against good teams, but Thieves to an extent, are teams where you can have a player who's not playing well and you're still confident you're going to win that map because the other 3 players around them are strong enough to pick up for that slack. You don't get that in a lot of other teams necessarily. So I can't see a world. I mean, that'd be dope, but I can't see a world where loses this.
Yeah.
Yes.
And there's the added, I don't know what you want to call it, but
storyline.
Storyline. Yeah, storyline. This is Hector versus Nate. This is
Slasher and Scump and whatever.
Yeah. There's a lot there. I mean,
Slasher versus Formal, 2 of the best assault rifle players of all time. Just
This is going to be...
It's going to be great. It's going to be a fantastic... There's so many good series coming out. I'm really excited about it.
And then we move on. So picking our winners, right? So we'd have New York versus Chicago for a spot in the top 3. I'm just going to go ahead and say Chicago because they beat them this tournament already, and it's 3-0. And some of the maps were like decently close, but I think either New York's gonna have to show us something on another map against Chicago, or it's kind of just gonna go the same way. Like I think they have to play their vetoes differently, and maybe play some new maps because the last map set just wasn't it. But who knows? I mean, New York's been looking good. They've been looking average. Just depends on the day. But I'm still gonna just go with Chicago just based off of pure teamwork, and I think that their team's been together longer.
Yeah. I mean, I've got to agree too, right? Like, I think Chicago, New York, like, I got to go with Chicago again. It's a pretty easy answer. Like, same answer as Thieves. Maybe New York upsets, but it's very comfortably saying Chicago.
So we've got Chicago advancing then. And then, so that would be Dallas dropping down?
Yeah, so Dallas, it would be a rematch, Dallas and Chicago.
Ooh, that's exciting.
Yeah.
Game 5, round 11, flip a coin. Let's say, I don't know. Like,
that's tough, right?
Chicago, I'll say Chicago because maybe they get hot on the loser side. Like, at that point, they've won a few games, and like Dallas would be coming off of losing to FaZe. Like, I would say Chicago, maybe based off of that.
So this is something we always talk about in fighting games more so than COD, I think, because fighting games, they play so many matches in losers in a row.
Yeah.
But there is really something to be said when you're in the winners bracket and your winners finals and you lose, right?
Yeah.
You just come off a loss, all the emotions. When you're in a losers on a losers run from losers rounds, whatever, you've got win. You got momentum on your side. You're feeling good. I always kind of favor, and if it's a toss up, I always favor the losers, the person who was in losers already, because they're coming off a bunch of heaters, right? They're riding that momentum, whereas the other teams like feeling a little bit down on themselves. They just lost. They got set down. But that's gonna be another kind of coin flip of a match.
Yeah, I sincerely, do I see Dallas winning both hard points again? No. Do I think
right.
Dallas needs to win that control? They're undefeated. Optic's undefeated in control. You got to take the control off of them. Don't go anywhere near checkmate hardpoint. Anywhere because Optic is just
get that off the board.
Right? Yeah. I think by the way, I think that Dallas did a great job with the vetoes.
Yeah, absolutely. They played it about as good as you can.
Yeah, I totally think it's a coin flip for them. But then I look at Dallas and I look at Optic historically seem to consistently get a lot of these third place finishes. You know, they end up in losers finals and then they fall and then it's an Atlanta Dallas rematch. But I don't know. I still kind of lean toward Dallas just because I like watching Krim ruffle all the green wall feathers.
Oh yeah,
I like that.
we might get another Schroed tweet after that. I mean, who knows?
Who knows? I know, but yeah, I really think it's a coin flip, but I'll lean toward Dallas. Hell, let's give them an Atlanta-Dallas rematch in the grand final.
All right, we'll go with Dallas on the bracket. So we got Atlanta-Dallas finals. It's going to be best of 9, so you're going to have to win, what is it, 5? Or is it best of 9 or 11?
I think it's best of 9, but they give the winner...
Winner gets 1. Yeah.
Winner gets 1. Okay.
So you got to win 5, but...
5, yeah.
You say best of 11, and I was like, I'm not prepared for that shit. I'm not.
No.
11 maps. Can you imagine it goes game 11, round 11?
Dude, a headache city.
That would be too much, God, but yeah.
So if you remember, so this is a rematch of last year's champs, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, I think Atlanta had a lot of momentum going into that 9, best of 9, or whatever you call it, first of 9. Does Dallas have more maybe composure? Does Dallas have maybe more like the experience when it comes to these kind of situations versus the young guns? I don't know. Will we see a repeat of the I don't want to call it a breakdown because it wasn't a breakdown, but like, you know, what do you guys think?
I still lean toward Atlanta. Like that map buy that they get is so powerful. That's to know you're already coming in 1-0. And if you win that first map off that 1-0, cool, baby. You only need 3 more.
Especially for a team like FaZe.
Yeah, I think I would still lean toward Atlanta. It's just such a bonus, whoever's coming through winners. So
yeah, it is a bonus. However, in my pick 'em here, I actually have the Empire winning 5-3.
Ooh.
And I just think like in a longer like set of competitive Call of Duty, they have to play more maps than they normally would because the series, like if they force more maps, it would just, they would be able to play maybe a Moscow hardpoint or something, right? And I think that Dallas really like strives in like the long game of COD. I think if you give them a best of 9 or if you make them reset the bracket, I don't think it makes that much of a difference, but I think that they thrive more in like a best of 9. Like they absolutely just like showed up in the finals last year. Granted, they were in winners and just like they looked really good in a long set. I could see the game giving them an advantage, but I think if Dallas comes out and wins the first map of grand finals and FaZe are kind of come out flat, it's kind of like, all right, 0-0, and I think Dallas is favored then.
I could totally agree.
I have them 5-3, but who knows? We're talking about Hook and Shotzi on subs versus like a Beezy and Simp.
Well, and that's something I look at too.
Who knows?
I look at Krim. Like if you're coming from losers, there's also going to be a bit of a fatigue factor there because you've just been fighting tooth and nail emotionally as well, and so you're a little bit. I mean, you've got the adrenaline, but you're going to be a little bit more battered by the time you get there. But I would look almost at Krim and Arcides too, like. If which one of those two coming from losers, say Atlanta's down there or Dallas is coming from winners, whatever it may be, which one of them has kind of the stamina to maintain being that backline AR support system for the rest of the team?
Salium versus Illy, like another big matchup that's going to be important. Search and destroy. Yeah.
No, I think no matter what, we're in for hopefully a better series if we get here. Hopefully a better series than the grand finals of champs last time, because Dallas, that was a little.
And always remember, guys, you can do it too. Phase up.
Yeah.
That is so. Selly was actually funny. Like, I don't think a lot of people realize how funny he is.
He's a good kid. Yeah.
So that's our picks for you guys can see it on the stream. Go ahead and add that into your pick'em for the COD League pick'em. If you're in a state or a region where you can gamble legally, gamble responsibly, maybe you want to cheat off of our answers there a little bit. I know we had a rough run at the beginning. I made fun of Hunter at the beginning, but he's on a bit of a heater.
One of the best players in the world right now. So
and we have Katie's knowledge specialist here. So I think these are much more educated guesses than previously. Please.
However, don't tweet me if you lose a bet, please. I'm not telling anybody.
We're not telling anyone. Just like when the stocks were taking off. When the stocks were taking off, we were telling people, don't take our. We're not financial advisors. We are also not telling you what to bet on. But those are some good picks. And to kind of wrap this up, Katie, who do you like for the overall big picture champs at the end of the year? Who do you see holding up that trophy? I guess not a trophy.
That's loaded.
Who do you think's gonna get that ring?
Honestly, if Hook keeps playing the way Hook's playing, then I go with Dallas again.
Yeah.
Oh, the back-to-back.
Hook is just, I mean, Shotzi and Illy were incredible last year, and Hook was really good. But Hook now, it's easy to make an argument that he's the best player in the entire game. So couple that. Get Illy a little bit up to par now, a little bit more on those respawns, and sheesh.
Yep.
So yeah, I go with Dallas.
Hunter?
Dallas. I was thinking the same thing. I think the sub duo, people talk about Abizi and Simp, and yes, they're very, very, very good, but there's just something about the play style of Shotzi and Hook together that is just, it's almost like they're a step ahead on teamwork just by themselves.
Oh, thank you. That you actually saying that just made me think of something I was talking about with my chat. So when we were watching Dallas and Optic play, something I pointed out in those respawns that Dallas was doing so well, to your point on kind of how they synchronize and that teamwork. Dallas did such an effective job of always getting trades. There was always another member of Dallas right there to get that kill if their teammate fell, and to always get the trade. There were so many hills that I saw where, say, Illy falls and Krim immediately there to get the trade to stop the push. And so I think, yes, to your point, Dallas has such incredible teamwork and help. They are so good at helping each other out on the map.
I think that speaks to the volume of their comms. Their comms are very, very, very good. That's what replicates a lot of good teamwork is good comms. So
for my pick, because I am in Atlanta and I don't want to be a traitor to my city, I'm gonna go with Atlanta FaZe, but also for good reason. I think they have a lot of talent, and I think this could be the year where they put it all together. Abizi playing out of his mind. We already know how good Simp and Selim are, and RCDs, like we said previously in the podcast, I think he's gonna find his final form, and I think it's gonna be at the right time at the end of the season. I do predict we are.
But you traded him.
I made a mistake. That was probably. I played a lot.
As Looney did with the triple team kill mistake.
I had to say it.
I've played a lot of fantasy sports in my life, and I think that might be the worst trade I've ever made. Let's not ever talk about that again. Well, we can talk about it as much as you want, but I really do see a Dallas FaZe run back from last year as the champs finals. But we'll have to wait and see what happens. I just want to say, if you guys don't already know, Katie on her channel, twitch.tv/Katie Bedford, she does CDL watch parties, which are fantastic. I often watch that with the broadcast. So you watch the YouTube feed. You can put that on mute or like half volume, put on Katie's, interact with the chat, great community, great vibes. You want to talk a little bit about what you do on those watch parties, Katie?
Well, thank you. That was very, very kind. Yes, anytime there's any CDL matches, I do watch parties for them, and it's essentially I love it personally because I get to directly engage hands. And that's something I was never able to do before.
Yeah.
But yeah, basically, guys, it allows you to kind of have that in-depth one-on-one discussion with someone who is extremely familiar with the players, with the teams, with what happens behind the scenes with those teams, and have someone who will live cast over the entire event for you. There is, I love that. Oh my God. I love that you pulled that.
Producer Nick is really doing his job.
Producer Nick is a
This guy is out of his mind.
Okay, so this is hysterical for two reasons, because I am never that sedate when I cast. I'm usually like very animated. But my cat is named Master Chief after John 117
awesome.
franchise. Yeah. He loves to be cradled like that, and he straight up passed out in my arms. He was passed out.
Mm-hmm.
And as any cat parent knows, the moment your cat sleeps on you, you are stuck there until
you can't move. You can't move.
So I couldn't move. My shins were indented on the front of my desk. I couldn't feel my arms. And I was sitting there and I was like, and they get the rotation and he gets the double kill. Can they? And I've never had so much composure.
Planet Earth.
Yes, it was dead ass. And I would look down at Chief and Chief was just like,
loving it.
So yeah, but no, the watch parties. Also, guys, we do giveaways for them as well. We'll be giving away an Astro headset before the grand finals. Shout out to Astro. Yes. We'll be giving away an Astro headset as well before the grand final.
Yeah, I tune into those all the time. I think
let's go.
It's a great way, like you said, to get a little bit of, because when you watch the broadcast is great. I love all the talent there, but you can't interact with them, right? Like what you read in chat, and there's a lot of like chat goblins.
It's a scary trolls.
You know, you're not gonna get a word in edgewise.
Yeah.
When you're in Katie's watch party, you can talk directly to her. You can ask her, "Hey, why do you think tempted that there? What do you know about this?" And she has a lot of insider knowledge, got a lot of experience. So I think it's a great way to kind of watch the CDL. So if you guys haven't already checked it out, check it out. I highly recommend it. It's a great time.
Yeah,
it's a fun time.
What I've also noticed is that like Katie obviously knows a lot, but your community does too. And like people that type in chat are often like very friendly with each other and like answer questions and stuff. So definitely a cool place to hang out.
I always wanted to be that open forum. Like any sort of, I love debate, but I always tell my chat, the moment that it becomes snippy, either get over it or I'm probably going to time you out. Let's keep it respectful, but
positive vibes. Yeah.
Anyone is welcome. And occasionally you might catch the shotgun sub goal. People they have a thing. They're like, oh, is Katie doing a CDL watch party? Let's make her shotgun a White Claw. It's a thing. So there's a lot of laughs on the side, but no, I appreciate guys, all the love. And
of course.
Sure. Thank you for having me.
And I had one question that someone asked, with all your knowledge and everything, do you ever think about getting into other aspects of Call of Duty, whether it be analyst or maybe a coach or some sort of like front office position down the road? Or what do you think about that?
I never say no before I know. It seems always like a silly thing to me. Coach, probably not, because despite my knowledge, it is, I am a lake compared to the ocean. That would be a Crowder.
Right.
So I do think there's a big discrepancy there, but a commentator and analyst, certainly I have full confidence that I would be excellent in both of those jobs. I mean, I solo cast pretty much everything when I do my watch parties, but front end or otherwise, I mean, a lot of people didn't realize I was doing a lot of freelance writing for Call of Duty League.
I actually love the articles.
You have a journalism background too, right?
Yes, I do. And so I was doing the long form deep dives with Eves, with Optic. Unfortunately, they did just slash the entire funding for. They just slashed the editorial budget. So that is put on pause for the time being. But no, I always keep those options open. I don't think you should ever shut any doors. And I love the community. I love the teams. I love the players, and I want to see nothing but the best for them. So who knows? We'll see what happens.
Yeah, and I think that really shines through that you're authentic. You care about the community. You care about the players. You want to tell their stories and get more behind. Just like, I mean, we can see good gun skill and we can recognize that, but I want to know more about the players. I want to know more about their backstories. And I think at this point you're a foundational part of the COD community. So, we appreciate you being on the podcast. And where can everyone find you on social media and everything like that?
Thank you. You guys are too kind. So thank you very much. So on Twitter and Instagram, it's Worlds Bedford, all one word, Worlds Bedford on Twitter and Instagram. And then on Twitch, it's Katie Bedford. So just my name, Katie Bedford, twitch.tv/Katie Bedford, and then Twitter.com, Instagram.com/Worlds Bedford is where you can find me. And I'd love to hear from you and anyone who's interested in swinging by to see a watch party. I would love to have you there as well.
Awesome. We'll have to swing by sometime.
I'd love to, yeah.
And let me know about those UYU hoodies.
Oh,
yeah,
yes.
we got you on the next
For
drop.
sure.
We got you on the next drop.
I already made a note of it, so we're good.
I love that.
Yeah.
So thanks everyone for tuning in. Next week, Hunter, do we know who we have next week yet?
Ooh, it's a surprise. So
It's a surprise.
It'll be at the same day, of course, same time.
Yeah.
So 9 p.m. Eastern, but I'm not going to say the person because I think it's going to be a good surprise, and I want to make sure we have a graphic for it, but just know that you'll want to be there.
Do you want to give a hint?
You can do the hint if you want, because I think I might give it away if I do a hint.
I mean, it's
just being honest.
It's with everything we've been talking about, it's someone related to that. Is that too much of a hint?
No, that's good. That's so okay.
Yeah,
no,
so this whole
good.
COD stuff, one of the person we have on the podcast is going to be possibly involved in the playing of the thing that we were talking about.
They may or may not.
They
may or may not be playing tomorrow.
Oh,
Yeah.
Okay, that's a good.
So it's a very big surprise. So we're not going to spoil it.
You're going to be there next Friday. It should be an incredible podcast with UYU. Do not miss it, guys. And thank you guys so much, Hunter Drew, for having me on. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Yeah, it's been
We'll
great.
have to have you back sometime. And also, Katie, we also do these community game nights. You're invited anytime you want to play.
Oh, I'm down. Can you send me more deets? Send me some on Discord.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Great. Well, thank you guys so much.
All right, and thanks to everyone listening. This has been Hunter Drew and Katie Bedford for episode 6 of GOT UYU Podcast. You guys stay safe out there, and we'll catch you next week. Same channel, same time.
See ya.